don't get on Facebook. Bridget just said who goes home on Bake Off, and I was like, oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, the British account posts every Tuesday night who it is. So last night I saw, and I was like,
you need to unfollow that.
No.
Because that's just not fun for you.
They post so many memes. It's so funny. And that's how I know, like, all the specials and everything, because Netflix doesn't post enough of it. So I had to follow the official account, and so I see spoilers on Tuesday nights, and in America, we don't get it till Friday, and I'm like, why can't we have a simulcast? Why can't we get ours on Friday? I mean, Tuesdays also.
Well, I knew that it was going to be Lizzie, because if you were upset about it, Lizzie just seemed like your kind of person. So I knew that was who it was immediately. But
it was so sad.
She did good.
Especially with her last cake. Her last cake was so good, and it was for the all neurodivergent people, and I was like, I'm one of those people. I could cry right now. Blink.
Don't cry.
I loved
Don't
Lizzie.
Cry, this already happened. We're off of Lizzie, and we're on to... I can't say it, because my husband's right here. But we're on to the next.
Spoilers redacted, who we're next sad about for leaving Great British Bake Off. Yeah, this is an anime podcast, but we double as a baking podcast.
We love Bake Off. You don't understand.
Specifically British baking. I can bake. It's not as pretty as what they do on that show. It'll taste good, though. It just doesn't look like theirs.
I can make pie. That's pretty much all I'm good at is pie, which is a good thing to be good at.
Pie is good,
like,
yeah.
I'm not mad. Yeah.
My
like,
pie
if I gotta choose one thing to bake well. Dude, I make my own pie crust.
Ooh.
So good. It's a family recipe.
I always accidentally burn it. You know, you're supposed to put, like, the foil around the edges, and I just never do it right. And the only time I've tried to do, like, fancy crust on it, like, you can't even tell what I've, like, cut it out to be, and I'm like, all right.
I've just started baking it before I put the filling in, which has made all of the difference, because I always had a soggy bottom. I'm gonna sneeze, I'm so sorry. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. It'll come back around. It'll come back around. Jesus Christ, my eyes are like watering.
It's really
from the
fighting
amount that
you.
I have to sneeze.
That sneeze was like, we're not going down without a fight.
No, it won't. It really wants to stay inside my body. My God. Dear Lord.
Ooh.
Okay. It'll come back around. It won't give me much
warning next time. I'm going to give you a pre-blessing, because this sneeze looks like it's really doing a doozy.
It's gonna hurt really bad. I feel it. I'm not excited about it.
Pre-blessing for that sneeze. Bless you, Lauren.
Thank you, Father, for I have sinned.
And puppy.
I think that's Hootie.
All the puppies?
It's Hootie. Yeah. Yeah, it's Hootie. Their barks are very different. I've just started to notice, because now I can tell who's barking when. Steve's are much more, like, aggressive, but they're way more high-pitched.
I can tell Peggy and Pepper's meows. Yeah, Pepper's meows are normally just siren calls of meow, 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 like that, and Peggy will just kind of, like, do the and then if she meows, normally it's only if she's, like, crying because she thinks you've left the house or something, and so she's in a back room and you just hear, like, faint. And then you're like, Peggy, nobody's left. We're still here. And so I can tell there. And Pepper's definitely got a deeper meow than Peggy. Sweet little thing. Pepper is literally a siren call.
Hey, I'm Lauren and this is Bridget, and we're obsessed with our pets. Oh! My bad.
Oh, hi. Yeah, sorry. That's us. This technically is an anime podcast.
This is our anime podcast. Welcome to the banter.
But we're talking about Bake Off and pets, so casual.
We haven't talked all week, which is really strange for us, so you're going to have to deal with us catching up real quick.
Exactly. Yeah, this week's been just busy.
What it is.
Yeah.
Busy. It's been really busy.
I pulled 2 12-hour days in a row.
Still finding time to watch your favorite shows.
I watched them last night.
Huh?
Last night, technically into this morning, I texted Lauren as soon as I finished. Yeah. I watched
the last 2 last night around like 7 o'clock. so you're good. I watched the first 2 the day after we recorded the last podcast.
Oh!
So I had good intentions.
I wanted to watch it.
And then I watched the last 2 yesterday.
I wanted to watch it, like, immediately after we finished, but then I was so tired, and then I was busy all weekend. My brother goes to A&M, so he got his Aggie ring this weekend, so it's a big deal. So I was at College Station for 4 days, and then work's just been crazy. Like I said, I pulled 2 12-hour days in a row, so I'm just like, I need to drive up to Austin at some point to deliver elf hats around, and it's been a week. Yeah, it's been. Sorry.
It's been 1 week. I had the same thought. You're fine. I should probably learn the rest of that song.
No, you don't need to. Cock my head to the side, said I'm sorry. That's all you need. No? Yeah, we got like random lines here and there, and that's all we need.
It always makes me think of, so like my favorite TV show probably ever is How I Met Your Mother. I've watched it 10,000 times. Like when I'm having a bad week, I just start watching How I Met Your Mother again. And there's this one episode where, like, I think it's in like season 5 or 6 where Ted meets the slutty pumpkin who he's like wanted to meet forever, and they just have like no sexual chemistry at all. Like it's supposed to be this big moment, and that song starts playing, and she's just like, "Hey Ted, this is gonna be our song," and she starts singing it to him, but she's being sarcastic, but you're in like Ted point of view, so you don't know she's being sarcastic, and you're just like, what is wrong with this girl? What is wrong with her? And that's all I'm thinking of right now. This slutty pumpkin. Thank you, How I Met Your Mother, for all these memories.
I keep thinking of one of the last few episodes of What We Do in the Shadows. Nandor doesn't want to be a vampire anymore, so he goes to like this cult group where they're like rip out their fangs every night and try and be human, and he's like, yeah, I'm a human now. I mean, I could sing this whole song. And so it's just like him in the car, like, it's been 1 week since you looked at me. He's like, what's more human than that?
Oh no.
They like do jazzercise.
Nothing
so
at all.
Funny. It's like a perfect 90s, early 2000s. I'm human. So that's what I keep thinking of when I hear it now.
I need to watch that.
It's so good.
I don't think I ever finished season 2 though, so I need to like.
I think it's all on Hulu.
Catch up.
It is so good. Like it is probably one of my favorite. It's so well written. There's so many good jokes in there. Like in the first season when they have vampires from like every movie and TV show in there, and they're all mad at Blade because they're like, he's only half. He doesn't count. And they have him like zoom in on the vampire council call. And he's got this like 2-minute delay, and they're all yelling at him. It's great. Tilda Swinton's in it.
I just remembered that. Movie. I have The Bachelorette to watch today, and
I do too.
Incredibly excited. So much drama.
What happened last week?
Did you watch last week's episode?
I did, but I'm trying to remember what happened.
They went on that group date, and no one talks to her, and so she got all pissy.
The boys had their own date with themselves, and it made me laugh so hard. They were just so hyped for a sleepover.
To be honest, I loved it. I was like, how sweet is this? This is
That's how I felt. I was like,
she just throws her little fit.
She should have just sat back.
I would be mad too.
Yeah, but I was like, you should have just taken a step back and just watched and been like, you can tell their personality the best when they're with their bros. And so if they're not realizing she's like around, just watch all their personalities and you're going to get like the true side of them when they're hanging out with their bros.
True.
So I get why she was upset. I would have been too in the moment, but also it made me laugh so hard that the boys were just so dang hyped for their sleepover and teddy bear fight.
I feel like there was another big dramatic thing, but I can't remember what it is.
There was. It was that guy.
So it probably wasn't that good.
It was that guy that wasn't on the group date that was like, we didn't pay enough attention to you, and I'm sorry that there are men here that aren't here for the right reasons. And all the guys were like, you weren't even on the group date. You didn't even have that conversation with her. Remember? Because I don't think we saw a rose ceremony.
And that one guy, the one guy with the eyelashes, I can't remember his name. But you know who I'm talking about. It looks like he's wearing eyeliner. He had a one-on-one last week. He was so creepy, dude. He was like, I'm falling in love with you. I don't care. It's just like week 3. I'm like, bro, calm down.
I just like that one guy that's got like the neck tattoos and the earring, and he was like, F the viewers. And I was like, yeah!
I like him too.
Because he called that dude out so hard.
I liked him too.
What about the viewers? And he's like, man, nobody cares about that. That's not why we're here. And so he yelled that, and I was like, get it. I love him.
That's right.
He's real.
That's right.
He's real. And he's very pretty. Very pretty, man.
He's the realist. Yes. Agreed. 10,000%.
Very pretty man.
Oh my gosh.
Him
so now
and
I've caught you up on this week
Hulu.
in reality TV.
You're welcome. Reality TV.
Oh, I love Hulu.
Swolu, they kept calling him that. I love that. Yeah, welcome to
I mean, he is.
He is. Our reality TV and the reality of our life with pets corner.
Now that we've gotten through that, I guess we should talk about the anime we're watching, huh?
Maybe, just maybe, we should talk about...
If you're just tuning in, we're watching Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. We're already halfway through, so if you're not caught up, please stop listening right now. We're watch the show.
We're actually
and come
halfway
back.
Through now. Yeah. Actually halfway through.
We've watched episodes 33 through 36 today.
Yep.
Or yesterday, if you will.
Or this morning, technically.
And yeah, whatever. Not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
And that's where we are. We're starting at 33. So if you haven't watched up to episode 33, stop listening.
Stop.
Go watch it.
Spoilers.
Come back. Yeah.
Spoilers.
Because we're going up to 36 today. And I care about you and your watching experience. So shut up.
She's pointing a finger for all those listeners who can't see it. She's serious.
I pulled my mom finger. I only use this at work when people make me angry.
You don't want to see her angry.
Or when I need to tap Hootie on the nose for yelling at people.
Oh, Hootie. Hootie booty.
Hootie is my dog, not a person. Anyway.
That was my pet voice, if
Shall
y'all didn't know. Shall we? Let's go. So episode 33. The Northern Wall of Briggs. Lauren?
Here is your Netflix summary.
Here we go.
Oh, I do. I do. I think
there's
we're a little off sync
There's a little delay. And so it's like I'll say something and then wait and then you'll reply and I'm like, oh. So apologies. Internet.
Yeah, that's okay. It's cute.
Internet.
We internet hard.
All
right, your Netflix summary. The frigid northern borderlands become a battlefield when Kimberly finally closes in on Scar. Deeper into the frozen wasteland, Ed and Al's fight is against the bitter elements as they struggle to reach Fort Briggs.
That's not bad.
Not bad. Way to go, Netflix.
Doesn't spoil anything, and is a good summary for the next 4 episodes. All right.
Honestly, yeah.
Do you have voice actors? We do meet a few new people.
I sure do. So in this episode, we have 3 new characters. One of them isn't super new, but I forgot to do him, and that's Winry's boss, Garfield.
Quirky dude.
He made me laugh so hard at the beginning of this, and I was like, why didn't I do his voice actor? I feel so bad about it. But hilariously, he's a very familiar voice actor in Japanese. In the English voice actor, his name is Anti-Marie Robinson, and he's just been in a bunch of weird stuff. Like, I literally just wrote down a bunch of weird stuff, because I didn't know anyone that he had done. And the Japanese voice actor is actually Kenta Miyake, who is already in this show. He plays Scar. Oh. And of course, Toshinori Yagi and Mohammed Adval from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders. So, that's him. We already know him, so I don't feel that bad for forgetting him now.
Wait, did you say Toshinori Yagi? Like, as in All Might?
Yeah, Scar is the voice of All Might, the Japanese.
In the Japanese, okay. I was like,
I told you this? Yeah.
It's been a week.
No.
It's been... Alright.
It's been
That's the title of the episode. Sorry.
It's Ben.
It's Ben.
Then we have Captain Buccaneer from Fort Briggs. His English voice actor is Phil Parsons. He plays Nappa in Dragon Ball Z. Kenny Ackerman in Attack on Titan.
Okay.
Renji Yomo in Tokyo Ghoul. And Leonard Burns in Fire Force.
I like Buccaneer, and I really liked Kenny in Attack on Titan.
I do too.
Wait, Kenny. I'm thinking Connie. Though. I'm thinking Connie. Who's Kenny?
I was about to say Kenny Ackerman. He's the gun guy that taught Levi all the gun things. He took him in.
I recognize the voice now. Okay, Kenny. Not really, but I mean, Connie was who I was thinking of. I love Connie.
I was surprised. We like Connie.
I like Connie's sweet.
His Japanese voice actor. Gosh, I hate myself for not writing this out phonetically. It's Ryuzuaburo Otomo.
That is one that you needed to write phonetically. Name. Wow, that's a long name.
I know, I really hate myself. That was really hard. And he was Black Doom in Shadow the Hedgehog and Crocodile in One Piece. So I don't know who either of those are, but those are his two top builds.
Shadow the Hedgehog. So is that the red and black hedgehog from Sonic?
I think so. I know he's from Sonic, but I don't know which character in Sonic he is.
The only other hedgehog I
was not a Sonic kid.
The only other hedgehog I could think of is the one that is like red and black. Because then you've got Tails, who's now going to be Idris Elba. Super hyped for that.
Should we Google it?
Yeah. Shadow. Should we
Google it? Should we Google it? Let's look and see who he is.
Images, please.
He is the red and black one. You are correct.
Okay.
One. You are correct.
I haven't watched that since a child. That's very young. I used to eat SpaghettiOs and watch Sonic.
So I respect
because the rings reminded me of SpaghettiOs. Anyway, weird memories for me. Oh, Rugrats. I just watched a documentary called The Orange Years on Hulu, and it's all about the building of Nickelodeon. It's so good. You would love it, Lauren. It is so good. It's so interesting, and it's just nostalgia lane.
I have one more. The most important one that I will not forget is General Olivier Mara Armstrong.
Yeah, I was like...
and her English voice actor, Mira. Thank you. I was like, Mara? Her English voice actor is Stephanie Young, and she played Nico Robin in One Piece, Toa in Dragon Ball Z, and Nana Shumura in My Hero Academia. I know. She also played, Tarut Kavin in Attack on Titan, who, ironically, is Kenny Ackerman's main squeeze who dies in the cave. So, they go together, like fine wine. How sweet.
All right.
Her Japanese voice actor is Yoko Somi, and she played Lyserg in Shaman King 2021, who's one of the main kids. And then Zoran Blitz in Hellsing Ultimate. And she played Mishka in Eureka 7. She was like this weird doctor lady who I really loved. And those are our voice actors for this episode. Huzzah.
I really love that she played Nana. I know. Because, man, that's two strong ladies right there.
I know.
Two strong ladies that I love.
It's so good. So good.
This is great. All right. Here we go. We get a little voiceover catch up in the beginning of this episode, which is nice because after this week, I felt like I needed that. I was watching these last night, so I was like, oh, thank you for this recap. And then it looks like they're still looking for Scar and company. Kimbleigh's hunting them down from the trains, trying to figure out where they've gone, where they've last seen them. Scar keeps trying to throw them off their scent by appearing in certain places, but actually going other ways. They look at all these old rock slides that have closed roads, but Kimberly notices the water's flow has been altered, then picks up a stone, and you can see that there's transmutation marks on the rocks, and so they know Scar's been there, and they catch on his trail.
Transmutation marks.
Yeah, neither did I, until I was like, I guess that is what it looks like when they're transmuting, so I guess that does make sense that, the rocks do get marked if they get transmuted. It's like, okay, nice piece of info.
Come up on the homunculus's skin whenever they're putting themselves back together. So I was like, I see.
You're right. So it's some kind of transmutation spell, which that could come into play later in episode 3 and 4 when we get really deep into homunculi alchemy of the city. Wait. My next note is, Ed has a fuzzy winter alchemy jacket. It's the exact same red jacket, but with the fuzzy lining. And I was like, damn.
So cute.
Ed, the stairs are frozen up in the north, and he just immediately falls down it, and I laugh because Al's like, Ed, you're so uncoordinated. And Ed and Al are just so excited to see snow, and they remember their childhood memories, and it's a really funny flashback because Ed transmutes a snowman, and it's got the little skull buttons, and I was like, again, with the skulls.
Sheesh, he's such a boy.
It's just like the little railing that he made for that lady with the skulls. I was like, oh, that's cute.
I wrote that down too. I was like, here comes emo Ed with his stupid fur-lined jacket and his skull snowman.
So metal, man. Yeah, oh my gosh. And poor Al's just like, what are you doing? I wrote, sweet baby Al, because he just yells at Ed, careful, you're going to fall again. And I was like, oh, he cares about Ed so much.
He's the real big brother here.
So Kimberly thinks he's tracked down Scar. He is. We just talked about that because I'm reading the manga and I'm only on chapter 4. But in chapter 3 is this whole adventure in a coal mining town, and Ed's doing something illegal and tells Al not to look, and Al yells, aren't you supposed to be my role model? But in the background, it's going crazy and transmuting things, and it's just sweet. Ed's the older brother, but Al's really the older brother, mentally and emotionally. And he knows that after what he told Mei Chang. He's aware he has the responsibility in this group.
Yeah.
So Kimberly thinks he's tracked down Scar, tells the military police to back off so he can handle him alone. Probably not great. Kimberly just wants an excuse to kill. And then I kind of laugh because it's dueling trains. Kimberly gets another train to race up on the train that he thinks Scar's on. And I said, he's jumping on the Scar's train in the most ridiculous outfit. He's still dressed like Michael Jackson. And I was like, all right, here we go, Scar versus Kimberly. And it was the most let down of a fight. So Scar's little henchman, I made this note randomly, and when they're fighting and trying to hide, Scar's little henchman reminds me of the Emperor's secretary from Mulan.
Yes!
Voice and mustache and all.
So much. I agree.
And then, right? When he started doing things, he was like, I don't want to be near this. I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly who he reminds me of.
So funny.
So I laughed and was like, Kimberly is still holding on to that dang hat for dear life during this fight and jumping around. He's still standing like this with his Michael Jackson pose, hand on his head, holding the hat down. And right as I wrote that note, he let go and it flew off. And I was like, oh, there it goes. Never mind.
He just needed it to go at the right time.
He's just all about.
He wanted the moment.
Yeah, so I was gonna say he's all about showmanship. Yeah, it's all a projection for him. But Scar throws Kimberly when he's having this internal monologue and thinking, and Scar's like, nah, dog, and just pushes him, doesn't even use alchemy, just shoves him, and he gets impaled on the train by this broken pole and is just hanging there. So Kimberly blasts the train away and Scar is left behind, and they get away because Kimberly's obviously Scar's got the upper hand and I underestimated him. And I did the Olaf quote, oh look, I've been impaled. Because he's just hanging on the end of this train with a metal pole sticking through him. And so the people get off the train and they're like, sir, are you okay? And he's like, who told you could stop the train? Because he's genuinely terrified Scar's going to get him. And I was like, okay, I like seeing this. Because Kimberly,
I would be too if I had been impaled.
Philosopher's stones.
I'd be like, hey, don't let him catch up to me. He impaled me.
Yeah.
But actually, I have a fun fact for that. I have a fun fact for this, which you will like because you found it lame. So, as we learned in the last episode, all of, like, Kimberly and Scar's cat and mouse, like, behind-the-scenes stuff isn't there. They added that into the anime just because. I think they just wanted you to know Kimberly better as a character before he just shows up and starts wrecking the world. But in the manga, the fight is actually huge. Like, it's so big that whenever he detaches the train cars at the end, they go careening off the track and explode. And you don't know that Scar and his little boy, and I think his name is Yoki, you don't know that Scar and Yoki are alive until the end of the chapter when they're digging themselves out of the wreckage of the train.
Okay,
so I don't know why they did
that coal mining manga thing that I was telling you about with the corrupt military police, it was Yoki. You said the name and I was like, oh, that's the name in chapter 3. So Yoki's the one that was all corrupt and was the Ed tricked, making gold and stuff. Okay. Look at this character connections here. I was like, oh,
it's a circle.
It's a transmutation circle. It's all connected.
It all is. It is though.
Wait, 2 episodes and you'll get our jokes. But okay, so that's really interesting. There was a lot bigger in the manga because this one was just like, push, blow the rails. No. There you go. Goodbye. It was like interesting. I thought we were gonna get a big old epic fight. So the guys that like find it, the poor train conductors, see Kimberly like impaled on the edge, and Kimberly's just like straight up psycho ranting about death and destruction and being so close to death. That's what you have to do if you want to play the game. And I was like, those poor train conductors are like, what the heck, man? There's just some random military dude hanging off, impaled on the back of our train. Our caboose cars are missing, and he's ranting about death. I would have just like backed away slowly and been like, you can just stay there. I'm not driving. Off. Just hang out there.
Keep driving.
Get to a hospital. So Winry calls to the hotel where Ed and Al had been staying, and the boys aren't there. They don't have their contact info, and she just goes, that idiot. They're such idiots. That idiot. We know she's referring to Ed, her love. I just want to make that clear for everybody else.
That way. Ever.
Alphonse, never an idiot. That idiot, Ed, her one true love. Facts. And so then we pan over to, like, Ed and Al hiking through, like, getting carried through the snow, and the guy goes, is that automail? To Al, and Al's like, no. He goes, oh, then you should be alright. And they don't ask any other questions, and I'm like, uh-oh, what happens to automail? The cold Ed questions you should ask, because he just made that comment, you ding-dong.
I don't care,
and then
man.
The next
thing, like, I can go anywhere in the snow. I don't need anything. I just walked for hours in pools of blood, and I'm fine.
I can make skulls. Yeah, like, so then we pan over, and Ed's automail is frozen and hurting his body, and I was like, classic. And then this dude, who we learn is Buccaneer, pops up with, like, this chainsaw arm automail, and it's really intense, and it works in the cold.
So cool.
Yeah, very cool arm. And then Ed tries to transmute it. He can't. He's like, what? Isn't this iron? It's not. Spoiler. And then...
It's not iron.
It's not iron. But my favorite is to help Ed, who's, like, about to get ripped apart by this chainsaw. Alphonse takes his head off and chunks it at the dude, and his little tassel that's on the top of his helmet gets stuck in the chainsaw and locks it up to save Ed. And so Ed finally hops down, and Ed's one line is, I hope I die here, or else Winry's gonna kill me. Which made me laugh a lot, because they're in love.
So funny.
And then we are introduced to my new favorite character. Olivier Mira Armstrong. That is Alexander Louise Armstrong's older sister. And I will refer to her as Lady Armstrong for the rest of it, because I want to give the Queen of the North the respect she deserves. because she is the true
All right, I'm just going to call her General Armstrong because that's her actual title.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Mine is a lot more emotionally tied. So they find the letter from Alex on the boys, and I wrote the letter from Daddy Armstrong because not Daddy isn't a father, but Daddy isn't a daddy. And she rips up the letter. They're like, "What the heck, man? Isn't a daddy?" And she's like, "I want to judge them for myself." And I was like, "Okay." And that's how the episode ends. And so it's really intense. And then we get an after credit scene of Mei Chang and Marco finding Scar's brother's notebook that they've hidden up in the north. And it's a combo of alchemy and alchemy. He's like found a way to mesh these together. And then we just see at the very end, Sloth is going to pop up at the Briggs. So that's not great. And that is episode 33. Episode 33.
Dang.
It was quick and a lot.
It was quick and a lot. I don't think... I already gave off my fun fact. I guess I have one more. The end credit scene was actually cut in the original airing due to time constraints. So no one knew that Sloth would be coming. He just popped up. And they were like, oh god.
Like, all these episodes now have end credit scenes. I mean, they always have the preview, but like the Marco thing was an actual like end credit scene. Like, it doesn't get replayed. Like, the next time we see them is like they're already talking about the book. It's not them digging up the book. So I was like, all right. So now I've learned my lesson after last week. I'm now skipping through the credits to watch those end credit scenes after 4 episodes in a row.
I know. I used to do that with My Hero, where I was just like, yeah, skip the end credit, it's fine. But now I realize that
they'll randomly throw in a really big plot point.
You just can't with anime, which really sucks whenever you dislike an end song as much as I dislike this one. Because I have to sit through the whole stupid thing, and I hate it. I do. The opening has...
Yeah, it's done that to me too now. After all that smack talk we did.
But the end...
That's why I enjoy watching it on my computer on Funimation, because I just hit that 10-second button like 4 times. It's harder to do on TV.
I could, but I won't.
Yeah. All right.
Yes, it is. So I just let it play and cry. Anyway.
So that leads us to episode 34. Ice Queen, a.k.a. Queen of the North.
Ice Queen.
Are there any new voices in this one? Oh, Sloth.
Yes, but first I have a Netflix summary.
Oh, yeah, duh.
So, the Netflix summary is, the soldiers at Fort Briggs remain ever vigilant against the threat of spies and Drachma? Is that how that's pronounced? Mm-hmm. Do you know?
Yeah, Drachma.
Drachma. It's, again, pronunciations are weird whenever I'm watching them.
I was going to say,
Japanese,
you're watching it in
please
sub,
forgive me if I mispronounce easy words. Yeah. The massive compound may seem impenetrable, but a violent intruder offers destructive proof to the contrary. So that's the Netflix stuff.
That's not bad.
And here are your 3 new voices for this episode. First we have Dr. Neil, who I like very much. And his English voice is Justin Cook. And he plays my favorite character in My Hero Academia, Ajiro Kirishima, Red Riot, ya boy.
Ya boy!
Love him.
Himbo status!
He also plays... I know. He's perfect. Everything about him's perfect. I love Kirishima. And then he also plays Yusuke Uramashi in Yu Yu Hakusho. He's the main character of Yu Yu Hakusho, which is cool. So he's been that for years, because I'm pretty sure that came out in like the early 90s.
Oh.
And he's also Raditz in Dragon Ball Z. And then his Japanese voice is Toru Nara, and he plays Rikido Sato in My Hero Academia. Oh, he also plays Snipe in My Hero Academia, so that's Sugar Man and Snipe.
Okay.
And he also plays young Jiraiya in the Naruto series. Jiraiya. And he also plays Masashi Yahari in Ace Attorney, and I haven't seen that in a long time, so I don't remember who that is, but he had like 80 credits for that voice. Dang. So I was like, I guess I should write this down. That seems fair. And then we have my new favorite character. I always choose favorite characters that I feel are probably going to die very soon. Yeah. I don't know why this happens to me.
Yeah, that happens.
But Major Miles, very worried about
Very
him.
worried.
But his English voice is Jason Douglas, and he plays Lord Beerus in Dragon Ball Z. Mishi Zacharias in Attack on Titan. I don't know if I said that first name correctly.
Mishi Zacharias.
And Ekoji in One Piece. I'm going to give Bridget a moment to look that up while I give you the Japanese guy. Japanese name is Kazuya Nakai, and he plays, if you were paying attention in Star Wars, he plays Ronin in Star Wars, or Ronin, sorry, in Star Wars The Last Jedi. Or, not The Last Jedi, The Ninth Jedi. I can't read today. He plays Fleck Turn in My Hero Academia World's Mission, and Zoro in One Piece. I know. I know. And finally, we have Sloth. And his English name, the English voice actor, is Patrick Seitz. And he plays, of course, Inji Todoroki or Endeavor in My Hero Academia, Keith Sadis in Attack on Titan, and Dio Brando in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Love this man. I saw a picture of him and knew instantly who he was, and that's how I know that I'm a weeb. And then the Japanese voice actor is Fukahiko Tachiki, and he plays... Oh gosh, why are these names so hard to say? I'm going to learn and be better, I promise. He plays Akainu in One Piece, and Lexus in Kingdom Hearts. I thought Lexus was far more important. He didn't have a whole lot of credits there. Did you find our guy, Bridget?
Yeah, Mish Zacharias was a commander in the Scout Regiment. Surprise, he dies. As most people in the Scout Regiment do. But he lasts a while. Actually, the Beast Titan grabs his horse and throws it at him. So this is when they're fighting the Beast Titan. And then Beast Titan tells him not to eat him so he can question him. But then the Titan... This is the one where the Titan ignores the Beast Titan's command and then tries to crush him, and it's the first time we've seen the Beast Titan talk, and then he's like, all right, you can eat him now because I'm done questioning him about his ODM gear, and then they all just rip him apart. So I specifically remember that because you're like, he can talk, and he's has control over the Titans, and so really interesting that was him. So
poor guy.
Yeah, so he had a good arc. He was Erwin's right hand man for a long time. So that Mish Zacharias is kind of sad. I remember that because the Beast picks up his horse and hurls it, and I was like, bro, what? As my reaction is to most things that happen in Attack on Titan, is just, bro, what?
Respect.
That is right before a really intense Beast Titan arc. Before we know who the Beast Titan is.
Yes.
Bam, bam, bam. Okay. So, Ice Queen. So, here we go. Due to exposure, the flesh that touches Ed's automail starts to freeze. So, he's super close to frostbite. They have to oil their automail. He's sitting in, the infirmary at the Briggs, and basically they're just telling him all about the North and how things work differently and how rules and stuff work differently because, it's the Northern Wall. If you've read or watched Game of Thrones, you know that. The doctor recommends that they send for Winry to help with automail, and I just wrote, yay, more Winry! But they were like, yeah, whatever, but they don't want to bring Winry up here because they've tried to keep her at an arm's length distance because ever since, what's his name? King Fuhrer Bradley, whatever, has threatened
Fear
her.
King Bradley.
Yeah, Fear King Bradley, whatever. It threatened her. They just try and keep her away for safety, which I think is dumb, and I'll address that later. So then our queen opens the door and is like, hello, little red runt. And it made me laugh so hard because normally Ed's like ready to fight whoever calls him that. But he's just like, and she called me a little red runt. And I was like, you could see the respect she commands.
Just calls him a pipsqueak in Japanese.
Oh, she goes, hello, little red runt. And it made me laugh so hard. And then
that's aggressive.
I know.
Jesus.
And then pans over to Al is screaming because his hair, that's in quotes, hair, is ruined and looks awful after getting unstuck from the chainsaw arm, which is this little tassel in his helmet. And so now it's like this little fuzzy, like, stick-up thing. And he's like, my hair looks awful, which made me laugh, but then also made me sad because that's like, Al considers that his hair because he doesn't have hair, he doesn't have a body, you know. It's like,
he has one thing that he gets to love, and now it's gone. If they don't replace his hair, I'm gonna be so sad.
I know. I was like, come on, Ed, transmute hay, for goodness sake. Golly. Right? It's probably like hay or claw.
Fix your brother's hair. He doesn't have a lot.
Your little brother's hair. Oh my gosh. So up north, everyone has secrets and dark pasts, and they want to know why Al's suit's empty, and they're really debating on how much should we let on. We don't know these people. We don't know if we can trust them. And that gets really put to the test in a little bit. Lady Armstrong, General Lady Armstrong, is letting them stay, and they tell her that, like, you know, we're here to try and get our bodies back, learn Alka history, and now she wants to know Alka history because she's like, I can use it as a weapon since they're so close to Drachma, and she's like, you don't get the luxury that, you have a luxury that I don't get. You get to live comfortably in this, like, nation's walls. I'm the one who builds the walls and defends them, so you can have that luxury. And so I was like, Alka history is not meant to be a weapon, but at the same time, you see how easily alchemy gets corrupted, and it just feels like a spiral. So, Major Miles. This is when we get introduced to Major Miles. He is an Ishvalan man. His father and grandmother is a different race, but his grandfather was Ishvalan, so his eyes are red and his hair is white and his skin is tan. I really love Major Miles. When I'm with you, Lauren, I just have a bad vibe. Bad vibe that, not about him,
I was so excited.
That something's gonna happen to him. I was like, uh-oh.
I was so excited to meet him. I was like, oh, they're going to replace Ling in my heart. This is going to be so good. I can have a break from my pain. And then the next episode happens. And at the beginning of it, I was like, yeah, go you. And then I was not. Very quickly. Yeah. And I was like, oh God, why does this keep happening?
We quickly got a little confident, and then we'll get there. So Major Miles is like, do you have a problem with me being Ishvalan? And then Ed's like, Ishvalan people killed my best friend's parents and blah, blah, blah. But no, I don't really have a problem with that. I do have beef with certain people. And so Major Miles kind of laughs and is like, since the war, Emestrians always view me with a mixture of guilt and pity, and I'm getting tired of it. And so he's like, thanks for being honest. And I was like, interesting. This is an interesting take. This is an interesting conversation. So in order for them to stay there, they have to have a job and work. And so they're instructed, because the icicles falling, which is actually a real thing, icicles falling are super dangerous and can be deadly. And so they're instructed to scrape off the icicles from the brig's wall. And it's so funny because you see Ed's stick that he's trying to scrape off and it can't touch the roof. And then all of a sudden you can tell which one's Al's sticks. It's like 2 feet taller and perfectly scraping off the icicles. And I was like, oh, sweet Ed now. And then Officer Fallman, is that his name? Officer Fallman?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Fallman runs into Ed and Al, and he's one of Mustang's boys that got transferred up here when they all got scattered to the wind. And it's nice to see a familiar face for them, for us, and they're talking, and they're like, oh, so you basically got demoted, and you're not on a career path anymore, and he's like, yeah, that's true. And, so then they're going down to look at, like, the weapons manufacturing thing that they have at the Briggs, and it's like, it's supposed to be high-tech weaponry that they're gonna give to the rest of Emestria. But while they're down there and they're kind of underground, They hear this digging noise under the pipes, and they're like, what's happening? And then all of a sudden, it's Sloth, who's literally... I'll get to it. So then we pan over to Kibley. Kibley's in a hospital up north, and Armstrong doesn't like that he is here. And she's like, wasn't he locked up for killing generals and stuff? And she's like, I don't like him being in my territory. Alright, so Sloth. Sloth isn't... I wrote my first note was, Sloth isn't very sloth-like, other than he talks slow and low. And then I went, oh, never mind, he just fell asleep after making an appearance, like, just while standing there. They're like, you're asleep? So Sloth
I don't know
dumb.
if in the dub it's the same, but he says, oh bother, a lot, and I'm like, he's the real Winnie the Pooh of this.
No, he does not say, oh bother. Like, he's just
he dethrones Gluttony. Yeah.
He does not say, oh bother. He's just like, I don't know.
He says,
where am
bother.
I? He keeps saying, like, pain. This is such a pain.
Oh no.
So, we do not say, oh bother. I'm glad that...
okay.
I'm glad that the sub has a new Winnie the Pooh.
He says, oh bother in Japanese.
So, in the sub, Sloth is your Winnie the Pooh, and the dub, Gluttony is your Winnie the Pooh. Got it.
Gluttony, yeah. There you go. So there's two Poohs.
Alright, two Poohs. So Sloth was told to dig a hole, and he's not sure why he's here. He keeps asking a randomly mumbling, can I stop digging now? Where am I? And so I'm like, where is he going? Where was he told to go? And then he just like randomly walked up on the elevator and is going up to development. So they're all shooting at him, and Ed now like, that doesn't work, and clearly doesn't work. Lady Armstrong hits him with a bazooka, and nothing happens. We all know that, but they don't know that, and so they're like, what's going on? This guy should be just obliterated, and it bounced off of him. And so Sloth keeps mumbling, get back to work, dig a hole, and he's literally been told by someone, and we don't know what. So Ed's like, that doesn't work. And so Lady Armstrong turns and was like, why do you know that? You better answer my questions right now or else you're dead. Ed can't answer all the questions, and even at his own life being risked, he's like, I can't answer that because, you know, Fuhrer King Bradley has been like, hey, if you say anything, all your loved ones will die. AKA Winry and Granny. And so she's really skeptical of the boys, even when trying to fight the homunculus. They don't know it's a homunculus. And then that's how it ends. Like, they're getting ready to go to town. And, yeah. And then we get an after-credit scene. They're clearly still fighting the homunculus. But then Mei Chang and Marco... I thought it was Mei Chang and Marco looking at a map because the lighting was different, but it's not. That's them underground with the homunculus looking at a map. And then the biggest quote that the voice says is, those who stand in the way are swept aside. Such is the law in the North. And I think that's really important for when we see Lady Armstrong do this epic, like, twist at the very end. Because you stood in her way, you're swept aside, man. Such is the law in the North. You can't mess with the Queen of the North! Alright. Yeah, that's
Queen of the North!
Queen of the North! Sorry. Oh, this is my mug. Pretend this is a goblet.
Anyway.
Alright. So that's episode 34. Lauren, you got fun facts for us?
I do have fun facts. So this was based off of chapters 65 and 66 in Fullmetal Alchemist. So if you're following along, we're up to chapter 66. And the tanks that they used against Sloth are actually based off of German PZK-PFW-4 tanks that were debuted in World War II. So if you needed any more reasons to think that they were Nazis, there you go.
There you go.
It's done. Those are my fun facts.
Man, this is super German World War II heavy, but I really like that it pulls from real history. There's some World War II buff that started watching it that was loving it. There's a movie?
There's a Fullmetal Alchemist movie where they actually are in Nazi Germany. Yeah, it came out after Brotherhood finished, and apparently it's very bad. We are probably going to watch it at some point.
Probably, yeah. But, what?
But yeah. Yeah, I don't know anything about it except for that.
Interesting. So, okay. I'm not going to look it up until we're done with the show, but it's really interesting. I say I'm not going to look it up. I'm going to try not to look it up until we're done with the show, because...
You're going to forget about it, probably, and then it'll come back to you randomly in the middle of the night.
And then I'll Google it and fall asleep and whatever. Mm-hmm. All right, so then we get to episode 35, The Shape of This Country. Literally. We find out that is literally a title.
I know. What the heck? Anyway, your Netflix summary is Edward uncovers a conspiracy of staggering scope, a plot that has already claimed countless victims. Clues suggest that Fort Briggs will soon know bloodshed, and an entire nation will suffer. Bum, bum, bum.
That's actually not horrible. It doesn't spoil too much.
It's not bad. We only have one new voice in this episode, and that's General Raven. And we've seen him before, but he didn't play a big role, so I never cared to look into it. But his English voice actor is Christopher Aries. He plays Frieza in Dragon Ball Z, and Prince Soma in Black Butler, which is one of the gayest animes of all time. And then his Japanese voice is Katsushia Hoki. And he plays Jinbei in One Piece and Teppei Hojo in Higurashi When They Cry.
All right.
That's it. He didn't have a whole lot of credits.
Yeah. Well, good, because he doesn't get a whole lot of screen time. Anyway. So here we go. I like how they call Lady General Armstrong Sir, because she doesn't let, just because she's a woman, her rank doesn't get looked down upon, her gender, like, she's like, no, you call them Sir, I'm a Sir. And I love it. I love her so much.
She's the most Sir, I would like to argue. She's more Sir than all the other Sirs combined.
She commands so much more respect and, like, also, like, honor for her people. Like, she doesn't do alchemy, but oh my gosh, she's amazing. Well, we don't know if she doesn't do alchemy. We know her brother does alchemy, so maybe she could. I don't know.
I don't think she does.
Yeah, but she looks epic when she stands there with her sword.
She has fear on her side.
And she's got epic sword skills, apparently. So, just really, really big fan. So they push Sloth into an elevator with the tanks, and then they douse him in this fuel. And then they roll in a tank and knock him outside with some ammo. In this elevator, and then Ed and Al just straight up, like, kick him over a railing, and they're like, yeah! But the fuel is especially blended for the cold, so as it evaporates off of him, it will suck out his body heat, and he'll freeze. And so that's exactly what happens. He's like, I'm so cold, and then freezes outside. We know it doesn't kill him, because, like, nothing kills them, but he's at least paused. He is on pause.
Incapacitated?
Yeah. They just hit pause on him because his body's still, like, regenerating, but I don't know. So Lady Armstrong then locks up the boys because she wants to know what Sloth was, why he was here. She's like, clearly you're not telling me something. And so they get thrown in the Briggs, which made me laugh. So all the military guys are coming over to the jail cell and thanking them for saving them. Hey, you saved our guys, because Ed did some transmutation real quick and blocked a bunch of the stuff Sloth was throwing from hitting these guys and crushing them. But you can tell that the Briggs people stick together, but they also follow the rules that are given to them because they know it's for the greater good. Because he's like, hey, you want to let us out of here? And they all in unison are like, no, we can't do that. And he's like, all right, worth a shot. But you can tell that
we're afraid of our boss.
Yeah,
she's terrifying.
We will not disrespect our boss. But, like, you can tell the camaraderie there is like solid.
I love the camaraderie in the Briggs group. It's so nice because all the other military doesn't really have that, so it's nice to have this little piece.
The last time we had it was Mustangs guys, and they're all scattered to the wind. So this is like the next nicest thing we can get, and it's really good. Are they
dust in the wind?
No, because they're not dead yet. Most of them. Some of them. We'll see. Yet. As this show likes to do to us, yet.
I trust nothing.
I know. If you like someone, they're not safe. Don't think they're safe. So
I think it's if Lauren likes someone, they're not safe. If I like someone, it's a guaranteed stamp of death or mind death.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I think
I'm sorry,
pretty
Alphonse.
accurate.
Whatever happens to you, that's my fault.
Lauren, I swear if you get Alphonse killed off in this show...
I'm just saying.
We quit. We end before it happens.
Before we started.
We end.
We'll just stop. All right, that was episode 60, everybody.
That was
Don't
the
watch
show.
the next 3. Goodbye.
It's all done. Goodbye. Oh my gosh, no. Oops. I hope not. So then we pan over, and Major Miles is interviewing and meeting with Kimberly in the hospital where he's at up north, and he's like pretty close to death, and Miles is like, man, this dude's sketchy and up to no good. And Miles thinks he has the upper hand in this moment because, you know, Kimberly's like impaled and like internal damage on a hospital bed, and threatens Kimberly and saying they're now going to hunt down Scar. And Kimberly is not happy with that because Kimberly doesn't want anybody else to mess with Scar because, you know, he probably wants to kill people. But Miles is like, hey, General Armstrong, if there's like a convicted killer out here, we're not going to let it fly. So we're taking this over. Then all of a sudden, after Miles leaves, General Raven comes in to visit Kimberly and checks to see if Kimberly still has the 2 Philosopher's Stones. He brings in a doctor who knows alchemy, and they have stones of their own, apparently, he says. Was this doctor someone we've met before? The smile with the golden tooth made me think that we've met them, but no. I don't know.
He is not someone we've met before. He is credited as Golden Tooth Doctor, so he doesn't even have a name. I don't know if he ever comes back.
Okay. The way they shot it was
I was going to put him in as a voice.
Yeah.
And I was like, should I?
Yeah.
So
we'll see if maybe...
he comes back, I will add him.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, interesting. So then they have the 2 Philosopher's Stones. But we pan over to Dr. Marco and Mei Chang in their little hideout, trying to read Scar's brother's books. So alchemy is like the study of the dragon's pulse, which, Lauren, I think you've talked about a few times on the show about it. It's about the chi of the land.
Whenever they introduced it, I talked about how it's,
Yeah.
That.
The chi of the land.
So, you know it.
I like paused and like tried to write down everything that Mei Chang was saying, which was like 3 pauses and 3 rewinds because I was like, oh, a lot of info is being told right now. So it's an energy that exists in all things of this world, like rivers of power flowing through it. Those rivers are far-reaching and touch everybody and everything. All you have to do is understand where that power flows and how it enters and how it leaves, and then you can use it to affect just about anything, the body too. So that's how they use it for healing, which is it's the force. It's the force. It's the force of this world, and yeah. I really like it because it's like this beautiful flowing thing. I mean, it's a lot prettier of a description than Ed being like, it's science. And I was like, okay. So then Marco talks about alchemy in the city in Amestria and how Amestris, I always say Amestria, it's Amestris. And that alchemy uses energy created in the Earth's crust. A great deal of energy is released during earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. That's what fuels Amestrian alchemy. So they're like almost the same, but one's like more in depth and one is more surface level, it almost feels like. So I bet the combo of these things are going to be great. Because if we remember, like,
I hope so.
They could turn off Ed and Al's alchemy, but you can't turn off, you know, Scar and Mei Chang's history because I think it's deeper. It's more about the Earth's flow and understanding life. And I have a lot of theories. We'll get to that at the end of this episode when we do our questions, because
it's interesting. It's like an interesting. I can't think of the word I want.
I know it's really hard to try and describe.
Like, faith.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like they have such strong faith in alchemy, like it's almost this religious experience that you help control. And then alchemy is just is what it is. Like it's something you learn and something
it's almost
you know,
like surface level.
See.
Yeah. It's more like alchemy.
It's weird.
Faith in the unseen and faith in your belief in it. Mm-hmm. And alchemy is more like, I can see it, I can do it kind of thing. I don't know. It gets really complicated when you're trying to explain it.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. So Mei, I was like, this is hard to write. Mei Ching knows there's energy flowing, but she said this multiple times in the show. She says it feels like it's not coming from the earth, but then she says this line, but like a crowd of people squirming around, and I was like, like the homunculi, or like all the bodies they've used of like cities they've destroyed to create philosopher's stones. So I said, so can they only do alchemy because of Father? Is Lauren's theory correct? Father is the man who created alchemy? Yeah, I threw in your theory there.
I'm correct. I am so proud of myself.
That is in my notes. Is Lauren's theory correct?
I will cry.
I think, because,
I still think to this day that Father and Daddy Elric are two halves of one whole. They are the mages that they were talking about in Xerxes, and they went separate ways, and that is the thing. If I'm right, it'll be the only thing I've been right about, number one. But number two, I will cry. I will cry on this podcast.
I'm like,
straight up.
I'm like in on half of your theory. So like, I think that Father might be that mage for sure. Jury's still out on Hohenheim. Like, especially with this like next episode, I'm like, what?
I don't know.
Hohenheim keeps the mystery alive for me, because I'm like, what do you mean?
Right? What is going on with that guy, man? Like,
he's so mysterious.
So lost on him.
Always out in a field doing some deep thinking, and I'm like, what is happening right now? Every theory I thought I had locked down.
He would have done it in his house if his kids hadn't burned it down. So, oops.
If his little rebellious children didn't just burn everything they own.
It's like, you couldn't just cry, here's a fire for your house.
And then that's going to be next episode where we talk about that and all of our feelings. Okay, so no one has broken to the Briggs fort before, but apparently almost 20 years ago, a mysterious woman was stealing food and supplies for a full month from them, and it was their teacher! I laughed so hard at that.
She wasn't lying!
It was not lying.
She was right.
She did it. But I do think the bear might have been Buccaneer.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
It made me laugh so hard. So Lady Armstrong brings them really far underground in that tunnel that Sloth had dug, so that no prying eyes and ears can hear them. And she's like, all right, tell me the truth. Tell me everything you're hesitating on. I need to know, because this thing just busted in here and I know you know more. And these are like, the only people that are there, I think, is Buccaneer and Miles. And those are like trusted people.
And Fullman. Fullman is there.
Oh, yeah. Because obviously he knows, because poor Mustang's group. So they tell her all that they know about Bradley, homunculi, Father, Philosopher's Stones, the hostages, the corrupt senior staff. She knows Hawkeye and Havoc, and so she doesn't want to risk them. I was like, oh, she knows Havoc. Does she know about him in the hospital? It was a little sad moment for me.
Why can't they date? Why can't Havoc date this beautiful lady? He would spoil her so well.
Oh, you know he probably tried to.
We know this about Havoc.
You know he probably tried to. And she was like, no, I need to move up. And he was like, don't you want to go on a date? Because I think she knew them, like she said, it was just like in trainings in Central. And so you know he tried to ask her. And she was like, no. But I love them. I love that she cares for them.
No, I'm more interested in Hawkeye. Yeah.
Love that she was like, yeah, I know Hawkeye. And I was like, I want to see a blonde lady boss babe team up. Real bad. So her with her sword, Hawkeye with her gun, like, let's do it. I'm so into this. And if we don't get that in like a big battle at the end, I'm going to be so upset. But I do have these horrible...
I think Mustang would die.
I do have these horrible vibes
that
Lady Armstrong isn't going to make it to the end of the series. And I think she just cares.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think she cares too much. And not too much, but like she's going to sacrifice herself.
I don't think anyone is safe at this point.
It's just going to be really sad because I really like her. And she's going to sacrifice herself for her men. And I'm like... so that's just
he's going to sacrifice himself.
He's going to sacrifice himself. I can't do that voice. Thanks, TikTok.
He's going to sacrifice himself.
No, Ron, no.
What is it? Sorry. I'm sorry.
Thanks, TikTok.
That was my bad.
And then my favorite last line she says after they tell her all the info, she's like, I could care less about Colonel Mustang. He's just in the way. And I was like, yeah, she wants to move up. Made me laugh.
Yeah, she wants to be King Führer Bradley. Führer King Bradley.
King Führer, King Lord Führer Bradley. So Ed thinks that the tunnel is dug.
That's his middle name. His middle name is Lord. It's King Lord Führer Bradley.
But it's spelled like
Führer King Lord Bradley.
It's spelled like Lord, like the singer, with E. So they weren't too on the
nose. I love that.
They weren't too on the nose. They're like, no, it's an artistic choice.
I like that.
So Ed,
I like that. Or his middle name could be Emperor. That would be good too.
Stop.
King Emperor Bradley. What a name.
Anyway, moving on. So Ed thinks the tunnel is dug in a circle, kind of like how Sensual was, and it's going to create a giant alchemy symbol. So to put the theory to the test, Ed marks all the incidents that have had bloodshed in Amestria, the uprisings and riots. Ed and Al just learned about Lior that they thought they saved because they got the corrupt guy out of there, and they didn't realize that Central came in and created basically like this uprising and the city falling apart, which we know from like Envy talking about it, that they do that on purpose, and it's really sad. All the locations create a giant transmutation circle, which is like a circle and then like it's not a hexagon, but I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's got 6 sides, 6 or 8. I don't know. I didn't do good in geometry. And so that's on the outside of it though. And so basically they see it's a giant transmutation circle, looks just like the one from the 5th lab, and they might make a philosopher's stone with the entire country of Amestris. That's a lot of people that will die. So then we pan over to Marco and Mei Chang, and Marco is like, hey, I gave Ed and Al like this thing, and we told them to find the hidden truths about alchemy and the philosopher's stone, because they're also kind of realizing that things are messed up. And here's the 3 truths. The first one, the ingredients for the philosopher's stone are live humans. Second one, there are a group of people seeking to create a giant philosopher's stone. And third one, they plan to use the entire country as a giant transmutation circle to make it. But what is their motive, and what are they trying to do? We know that they're trying to do that, but what's the end goal? What's the bigger picture? Why do they want to do that? Because they can't rule over everybody if everybody's dead. So what are they? I don't know what's the purpose, end goal here. So the first...
Yeah, I don't really either.
Yeah. So,
I have no guesses.
Yeah. Neither does any of our characters. So they're all kind of lost in like, why? They're like, we get people in power, but what are you going to rule over if everybody's dead? So the first of the conflicts happened in 1558, just after the founding of Amestris. So the military was involved with all conflicts that make the circle, and basically they created Amestris in the first place for this sole purpose. And then they talk about that Hughes must have seen this before he was killed, because he was in the court-martial office, so he had access to all of these documents of the bloodshed, where Central was going, and so he had marked it all and saw what was happening, and then that's why Envy took him out. And that's really sad. Oh.
No.
And
but
so,
one mystery has come to a close.
It did.
We now know why Hughes died.
We've bookended Hughes' death, and it's really sad. But Mustang still doesn't know who killed him, so I'm sure that'll come up soon. And we might get some really cool Envy Mustang fight, maybe? I don't know. And more people.
If Mustang doesn't kill Envy, then there is just no justice in this world.
Yeah.
He deserves to kill him, and I will be devastated if he doesn't.
And you know the homunculi must kind of fear Mustang after he just like torched Lust.
Yeah. Because
Lust was like their leader, and he torched her. So I'm sure there's some kind of fear, respect there. So Ed has flashbacks of Envy and somebody else. I couldn't remember who this other person was.
I couldn't either.
I think it might have been like episode 1 or something, when it was like they were trying to lock down someone. I don't know.
I think you're right.
Could not remember. So I'm thinking, I want to say I faintly remember episode 1 having someone But if so, I need to rewatch episode 1 because they've been
dropping that. Episode 35, still pulling from episode 1.
Yeah.
Jeesh.
Yeah. So I'll probably go back tonight and rewatch episode 1 to see that. But so he has these flashbacks of that guy telling him he has no control over the alchemy he uses and that he doesn't know who he serves. And, Envy said the same thing. Oh, you think you own this power? That's cute. He realizes, those hints have been there all along, which is my thing of like, Father is the one that's giving them all these powers, not necessarily purposefully, but because he has all these powers. And what if, like, it's all a philosopher's stone? I don't know. My brain was, like, throwing 5 trillion theories in my head at once, and I don't know. So, if the theory is right, the next place they're gonna hit is Briggs. That's the completion of the circle. So Lieutenant General Raven is now at Briggs to see Lady Armstrong. So they have to go back up out of the tunnel and just go see Briggs. But Ed first asks her, like, hey, can you con some info out of him? Which I love this. But also Kimberly is here and all better now. And Raven asked Miles to show him around the fort. And I was like, it's a trap. Don't do it. Because Kimberly hates hates Ishvalans, and I'm really scared about this. So then we have this moment when they're walking in the hallway, and Al's losing hope about getting his body back, and he just says "Winry's apple pie," and Ed assures them that they're gonna get their body back. He's gonna get to eat pie. I don't know. It was a really little extra dose of sadness on a really stressful moment, and I was like, "Gee, thanks." So now, Lady Armstrong is meeting with Lieutenant General Raven, but we see that there is a recorder up in the ceiling and the boys are listening. So Lady Armstrong is trying to use her womanly charms, if you know what I mean, I'm winking, to convince General Raven, to con General Raven. She says she wants an immortal body like that monster. It's just so funny because she's like, I'm a lady. I want to be immortal and young and pretty forever. And he just totally buys into that because he's like a horn dog. And Raven says the line, would you be interested in a legion of immortal soldiers? And they're like, he took the bait. And they got a recording of him basically mentioning the homunculi, which is great. So now they have evidence, and I don't know what they're going to do with that because it's not like they can tell the Fuhrer because he is one. So that's how it ends.
Yeah.
And then we get an after-credit scene that say, only the strong survive. Power must be fought with an even greater power. But then they showed this really quick clip of Daddy Elric, and I was like, oh snap. Hohenheim's coming back. And it says, a man with resolution in his heart. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? And this next episode also doesn't help me clarify what that means. But, that leads us to our last episode 36.
Yeah, honestly.
Family portrait.
So many questions left from the last episode. Oh, wait, I have fun facts.
Oh, fun facts.
I have fun facts. So, these... the content from this episode was from chapters 66 and 67 of FMA. We're now up to 67.
Oh my gosh.
Here we are. And there was actually a mistake when they were recording the English dub. They had Fallman recount that the first incident happened in 1588, and then they let him go, and they realized that it happened in 1558, so they make Ed say a snide remark, just like, you're not thinking about this right, it was 1558. So that's actually not in the sub. It's only in the dub because they messed up.
That's funny.
And that's that. And the pistol that Buccaneer uses on Ed, or he pulls on him, is based off of a Mauser C96, which was a German pistol in World War II. Another
classic
hint at Nazis.
Nazis.
Those are all my fun facts. Here is your Netflix summary for episode 36, Family Portrait. Boop, boop. As Raven tries to corrupt Armstrong, Ed and Al can only wait in their cell. Long ago, their father faced his own captivity, confined to an eternity of regret in an undying body. To escape the pain, he said goodbye.
I mean,
not the best summary, Netflix.
Not the best summary, and also really just shows the anger I still have at Hohenheim. I have a little more sympathy for him after this episode, but at the same time, I'm like, bro, talk your feelings out, man.
I'll have more sympathy once I know what the heck is going on.
That too.
It's like, seriously, just give me your little bloodworms, shoot them into the ground for no reason,
stop.
And then talk about how much you love your family, and then leave your family. Like, what's going on, man?
Were they bloodworms? Were they bloodworms? I thought it was just like blood splatter and absorbed into the ground.
So it was, but the way they went into the ground was like purposeful. Like they were spreading out somewhere and they wiggle when they go in. Stop. So I called them bloodworms.
Stop! I don't like that. Gross.
They wiggled though.
All right. Family portrait. So this is like the first time we get like a opening credit scene in a while, and actually in all of these, like we just have like a recap, and then so we open up with this bloodworm scene of Daddy Elric is now, or Hohenheim, I keep just saying Daddy Elric in all my notes now, is reciting names.
Daddy Elric is fine. We know who we're talking about.
Okay, good. He's reciting names and asking for forgiveness, and then straight up like punches his fingers into his chest, almost like Indiana Jones Temple of Doom style, and then like splurts out blood on the ground and then heals up. And I was like,
I think those names are the people that were used to create his inner Philosopher's Stone.
Because he's a homunculus, like I said, right?
I think so. Yeah, but there's something weird here. Either he uses a Philosopher's Stone to do stuff, or he has one inside of him. I don't know.
I think,
I still don't know what Father is. I just know that they're both the legendary human things that bring their crap to people. That's all I know in my heart. But I think those were the names of the people that created his Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, because remember, so when we had that scene where he's drunk at the fire, and we have all those people, and my theory was, although I missed like half the episode went over my head, but my original theory was that he was a homunculi and those were the souls in him. Now, I was wrong in that situation, but my theory still stands.
But he could still be a homunculi.
And now he's reciting names that were the souls that built
plausibility.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's super confusing for
I think
my
they were
brain
just
to
going
comprehend.
with the Game of Thrones theme, and they were like, we've got Sansa, we should really put Arya in here too. Let's just make Daddy Elric say some names.
A man has no face.
And we'll be good.
Yeah. He's going to say to death, not today. Which basically he does in this
actually,
episode.
he'd probably be like, yes, today. Please, dear Lord.
Stay. My watch was like, today? You have events today. It's like, okay, calm down, watch. Okay.
Why do you keep saying today? I'll tell you.
I know, Siri's freaking out. So a quote I wrote down, what is Mommy Elric's name? Trisha. Yeah, because I keep trying to say Trisha Yeager. That's not right. So her quote is, because we flash back to when he's living at the house with the boys and Trisha's alive. And it's just like a super depressing, like, intro before the episode. And she goes, you can hug them, they are your sons. And then he says, I don't want the monster to spread. And he says, since I got this body, trying to think of the flow of a larger world, he kept on living for a long time, and that was enough. He doesn't get older, but his sons are aging and growing now. They created two sons. The way he phrases it, created two sons. He thinks he's a monster.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is he, and why does this flashback hurt so bad? Because he's struggling with the fact that his whole family is aging, but he doesn't. And I was like, all right, Twilight. Very New Moon vibes here. So they want to do a family photo. That's exactly what's happening. Super angsty. I'm not aging, but my loved ones are aging. It's so New Moon. That's exactly what went in my head. So they want to do this family photo, and I was like, oh, look at little baby Ed and Al. They're so sweet. And Ed just always staring at him like wide-eyed, like
they were so cute.
So Trisha,
like, love me.
I know. Or
please.
I almost like Ed's piercing eyes can see the truth through you, which is, I think, exactly what Hohenheim's thinking. He's like, he knows what I am, but
I know.
In reality, Ed's a 2-year-old that's like,
stop looking at me.
Yeah, Ed's a 2-year-old that's like, I don't want milk. So Trisha says, someday I'm going to be a wrinkled old monster myself. And she wants to do this photo so you can be able to remember us all together smiling. Even if you're scared, don't try distancing yourself from me. And I wrote in all caps, well, that didn't work. And in the photo, she's like, smile, honey. And he's like frowning. And I didn't realize this, but he's crying in the photo. And so I want to go back to those old episodes and see if you could see that. But he's crying in the photo.
And see.
It's so sad.
It was so sad.
He wants to be with Trisha and the boys and grow old and die with them. And then he says, that bastard. And I'm like, who's he referring to? Is he referring to Father? Because he is split from Father.
It has to be Father.
Yeah, and he's made into a homunculi and he doesn't want this life. So, when Bradley's talking and he's like, I don't know if the soul in me right now is my soul or one of the ones that survived. So I think, Daddy Elric was the first homunculi he tried to make. And none of the other souls, stuck in him but his own. But he is aware there's other souls in him. And so he feels the guilt, that the other homunculi don't feel. And he just doesn't want to be
this could really work for both of us here. This could really work for both of us. So, Father could have created Daddy Elric and sent him torching to spread alchemistry, does his alchemistry thing, while he goes to Amestris to spread alchemy, and they were supposed to maybe meet back up, come back together, but then he was like, nah, you ruined me, I hate everything, I'm an angsty man
I
forever.
just want to watch, the next 30 episodes right now, so I can get this answer, because it's driving me crazy.
Nope.
Yes, ma'am. I want to binge it so bad because it's a really good storyline, but I'm like, what does this mean?
I'm honestly shocked that you agreed to do this podcast knowing that you couldn't binge the anime we were watching.
It is so hard.
I'm so happy. Look how fun this has been.
I have to go on Pinterest every night and look up fanfic, just to help, art, to help, cure the need to want to watch more. I have to, take in other medias of this, genre to help stop myself from going forward. So...
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's hard.
I'm sorry.
It's hard, but you know what?
You're doing so good.
It's a great show. I really love this show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so he fixes the swing, which made me laugh. He's just up in a tree, fixing a swing, trying to be a dad, and he falls out of the tree, and he's like, I haven't been able to do much for the boys, but I can at least do this. And I'm like, don't make me like him. Don't make me like him. And then he goes, Trisha, I'm going away. Wait here for me. Don't tell the children. I don't want them to know about my body. And I'm like, what does that mean? What was he actually going away to do? Because we know he went away for a purpose.
I don't know.
And there's something about his body.
Here's what I think.
Okay.
I think he was trying to find a way to make himself human. Because we know that he was looking for a Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
He studied human transmutation. I don't think it was to bring anyone back. I think it was to just make himself mortal.
Maybe it was him trying to get rid of his Philosopher's Stone, but still try and live. It's so complicated, and it ties into, every subject we have watched in the show, but we don't know how. But we know there's ties there. We just don't know the bigger picture.
I'm sure once it comes to light, it's gonna be just such a moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's gonna wash over us, and we're gonna be like, I see everything now. I have all these feelings.
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
I'm ready for it.
And so, of course, when he's trying to leave, the boys come out, and they see him leaving, and it's so sad, and he starts to almost cry when he has to leave, and just... I write,
That's why he looks so mean.
I know. And so I write in all caps, don't make me like him. Because I know it's going to be all for a purpose and for a sensitive spot and a good thing. And Ed and Al were just too young to understand. And I'm going to like him, but I'm so mad at him because he left them. But I get it, and I know I'm going to end up liking him.
I've liked him from Father at the Grave. I knew that this was coming, so
I've resisted. I have resisted for so long, and now I'm like, all right, here we go, starting that redemption train.
But you let you just have your feelings, man. He's pulling an Endeavor, and that's okay.
He straight up is pulling an Endeavor. If you can
forgive Endeavor, you can forgive Hohenheim.
Don't you pull this on me? Don't you pull an NG on me? All right. Endeavor. You thinking about me? I love Hawks
always
so much. Okay, so then he just says, we're back to him present day in the field with his bloodworms, and he says, just a little while longer. And I'm like, what does this all mean? What does that mean? What does this mean? And then the opening credits happened. I was like, that was like a 10-minute opening scene. That was half the episode before the credits even played.
So intense.
Ugh. Okay.
So intense.
So, here we go. Opening credits play. And then we're just about to... I still have like a page full of notes because this episode alone just dumped info on you straight up.
I think the best part of this episode... and maybe the series is, if you aren't aware, the writer of Fullmetal Alchemist is a woman. And the female gaze is so incredibly strong in every part of this anime, but particularly this next scene, all of the things of discomfort are such subtle things that if you were a man, you wouldn't necessarily see that as something that is uncomfortable and creepy. But as a woman, we've all been through this. We've all had that person just come a little too close, rub your shoulder, touch your hands when they should not be touching your hands.
All the subtleties that make you so uncomfortable.
The way that was portrayed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's great because you immediately feel like you're in danger, and if you haven't been taught, not even taught, if you haven't been in that situation to learn how to click your brain over to have that strength to be like, no, you do shut down because you feel intimidated and you see that they're using this power over you. So I 100% agree. You could definitely tell this is a woman's gaze of those subtleties of someone trying to overpower you without yes, they're doing it physically, but not overpowering you, restraining you, but showing that they have power over you.
But it's not. Yeah.
It's so well done, but also it gave me the heebie-jeebies when watching
literally goosebumps all up my arms just thinking about it.
It's so good. Okay.
I hate it.
But then this is also why we stan General Lady Armstrong, because she handles it like
she's amazing.
Boss, and this is how
she's amazing.
We should handle all creeps. All right, don't quote me on that.
Honestly, yes, I agree. Quote me on that, seriously. Oh gosh.
Okay, so now we're after the credits, even though we're halfway through the episode. There's a team underground in the tunnel in Briggs, and all of a sudden they get contact cut off. All the radio doesn't work anymore, and the horses are sensing something in the tunnel, and it's just all of a sudden this darkness comes in, and I was trying to describe it, and I was like, darkness with eyes and teeth and sharp stabby thingies. So almost like how Lust could do it, this darkness shoots these needle things and stabs the guys, but it's got eyes and teeth that look like the portal.
Do you think this is pride?
I do think this is pride because of a comment later in the episode when they're like, "What pride should have told you what to do," and so I'm like, "Is pride coming in to follow up on Sloth?" So we'll get to that in a sec. But yeah,
it's gotta be.
So I said, "LOL." Even Kimberly thinks Al is the Fullmetal Alchemist because they said, Fullmetal. I see where you got your name. And even Buccaneer points no, it's this one. What?
Bridget,
what?
Do you think if Hohenheim is the homunculus of Father, and they're all bits and pieces of Father, that Hohenheim is Father's love?
No. Maybe.
But what if he is?
I mean...
What if he's love?
I think he would have shown that better.
No, I just hurt myself.
Lord, don't journey down that road. Don't do it.
No.
Don't do it. Reel back. Turn around. You turn that thought. Come back. All right, we're going back. So Smith's horse returns and comes back with what we assume is just his arm. And I was like, wow, this is a very Attack on Titan moment right here. He's like, here's the horse and a sliver of a body. Oh, okay.
What's with this show in arms, man? First L'Enfant, now Smith. First Ed, then L'Enfant, now Smith. Come on, man.
They really,
what's with these disembodied
they really
arms?
don't like arms.
Sorry. I was doing well.
You were doing really well.
That's my bad.
I like the dead silence of both of us. Like, yeah, we're very against. The show is very against arms. They're kind of up in arms.
Yes.
All right. So sorry.
That was awful. I hate you.
I'm so sorry. Ugh. So Raven tells Lady Armstrong to put the homunculi back in the tunnel and seal it without searching for their party that disappeared. Which makes me laugh because that just means Sloth came up too soon, is just really dumb, and he's supposed to just make a circle and go back, but he went up because he's dumb.
He's Winnie the Pooh. He's a big idiot.
I love that he says, "Oh bother," for you. I wish he kind of said that
Seriously,
for mine.
He says, "Oh bother, what a bother."
Yeah, he's like, "This is such a."
It was upsetting.
He keeps saying, "This is such a pain in ours." So Raven thinks the boys, because the boys go and hide back in the jail cell so that they don't think anything, and that Lady Armstrong maybe doesn't know anything about the homunculi, and Raven buys it. So Raven thinks that the boys hasn't told anything to her and will let them go. And they say, they talk about how the North, like Lady Armstrong, like is suddenly giving in, and even Kimberly's like, the one that holds the power. And you see that the Briggs team is not wanting to like agree and go with what Raven's making them do, but Armstrong is just straight up like, you need to shut up and you need to listen. You need to shut up and you need to listen, because she's got this whole ulterior plan, but they just need to shut up and listen to her and let her play out the plan. And basically she's like, do you trust me? Because I need you to trust me. When have I ever let you down? I need you to trust me. And
they all do. Yeah. They all trust.
Yeah. And so Raven yells at Sloth, Pride explained it to you, didn't he? When Sloth's like confused and having to go back in the tunnel. And so that's when I was like, who is Pride? And maybe Pride is that thing we saw in the tunnel, because it looks like a portal, kind of like what Gluttony had pop out of his tum-tum. So, I think maybe Tum-Tum. He's my Winnie the Pooh. Envy said Gluttony was the failed portal that Father tried to create. Maybe Pride is not a failed portal. Maybe he is the successful version, whatever Pride may be. So we pan back over to Marco and Mei Ching. I always forget there. Marco can't read the last of the notes because it's written in Ishvalan, but Scar was an Ishvalan monk, so he can probably read it, which I'm like, whoa, what a 180 turn of life. He was an Ishvalan monk, now he's like a serial killer in the city, and that just shows how much trauma and pain that poor guy is dealing with. But
in the name of God.
Yeah.
In the name of God and family.
But
sorry. I've been watching You, so I will forever be making excuses for murderers, apparently.
I understand that. I watched season 3, I get that. The Brick soldiers found where Mei Ching and them were, so Scar's didn't kill them, but he knocked them out and stole their winter gear. And so Scar's relocating. They're gonna go hide somewhere else because they were trying to find Mei Ching and the weird-looking cat, aka Xiao Mei the panda, so they can try and learn more about Alka history, but Scar's like, nah, dog. They don't really know why they're looking for them. Raven says, Armstrong says, what's going to happen to everybody else? Are they going to be sacrifices, or some people going to get to live? And so Raven said, because he thinks Armstrong's on his side about the homunculi and being corrupt now with them. Raven says, the weak will become the foundation of the country and the strong will be the ones on top. It's survival of the fittest. And I just keep going, ew. This is when I wrote what we talked about. Ew, Raven keeps rubbing Armstrong. And like rubs her shoulder while saying that, you know, he's just being a gross horn dog, and I really hate it. He rubs her hand, he rubs her shoulder, and every time he talks to her, he like touches her. And it's not like touching, like, ah ha ha, I'm laughing at something. It's like the purposeful power touch where you rub on someone. It's, if you're a girl, you understand exactly what I'm saying.
I hate it.
And it is the most unnerving and gross thing. Like, I do not want to be touched by you. And so this is where my queen of the north, he does that. And he rubs on her arm, and she just turns and stabs his arm with her sword, like straight up through the forearm. And he's like, "Oh, what?"
She's so cool,
completely caught off guard. And she's like, "Absolutely not. This is not going to happen." And Armstrong, I was like frantically typing notes while half asleep last night, and I wrote, Armstrong dang near cuts him in half and buries him in the cement. So she does. She dang near cuts him in half. Like, she slices his arm, then slices him, throws him in that cement, and then to get the last, like, cherry on top, she says, you will literally become the weak that makes up this foundation. And tells them that she wants that semen smooth as butter on top so that nobody knows that dead body's in there. So he's still alive, but he's about to just get buried in semen. He's gonna die, obviously. He's cut in half, pretty much.
So cool.
But I just wrote, yes,
it's literally the coolest thing that's happened in this show so far. Like, in a show of awesome things, this is the coolest thing.
Yeah, I just wrote.
So that should say something.
I wrote in all caps, yes, queen. So you can tell she doesn't want that immortality. She truly loves her people, and she loves the people of Amestria, and she's Amestress, and she's just the best. I love her so much.
She says something to Raven before she kills him, like before she stabs him, that I love, and it's like, oh, I see why you would be afraid to die.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You're a pathetic, weak human.
Offers,
that's why you would be afraid.
Yeah, and he's like, I offered you a seat, and she's like, why do I need a seat when I can just take yours? Because she just like straight up kills him, and I was like, yes,
so cool.
I love her.
So cool.
So we pan back over, and basically the general tells Miles the operation is complete. No need to buy more time because they're keeping Kimberly away from Raven so that they could do this whole plan. And Kimberly reveals that he was told that if something happens to Raven, Kimberly can act in whatever way he sees fit. And he was told that from the Fuhrer himself. So you can tell that Bradley was already suspicious that things were going to go sideways because he's smart, unfortunately. And that's really not good for Miles and the others, because basically you can tell that Kimberly knows something has gone sideways, because they're like, we can't find Raven anywhere. Do you know where he might be? And basically Kimberly's kind of threatening Miles in this moment. And I'm like, no, not Miles. But we know Kimberly has a horrible track record right now. So Ed saw the trap coming and all that with the cement and stuff, so he made a secret passage into the tunnel so they could search for the fallen soldiers, because Ed's a good boy like that and always has like a card up his sleeve. And then Ed and Al are still stuck in the jail cell because Raven was supposed to let them out. But, you know, that he's kind of in cement now. But then Kimberly comes in to talk to Ed, and I'm like, but Kimberly's like, hey, I brought a visitor for you. And it's stinking Winry, which I would normally be happy about. But they didn't call for Winry. And Winry says that the military asked her to come. Actually, the Fuhrer probably did. And it's because they are just, like, threatening the boys again. Like, hey, you're messing with our stuff. Remember what I said was going to happen to Winry if you keep messing with our stuff? And Winry doesn't realize her life's in danger. And Kimberly knows, like, I could just touch her and kill her right now. And I just wrote in all caps, they just need to make sure Winry doesn't leave their sight at all times, and they have her right next to him. Like, they should not have just left her in Risenbull, or not in Risenbull, in, what's the city called?
Rush
Valley. Because, like, they weren't there to protect her, and I can't let something happen to Winry. And so that's where the episode ends, and then we get some after-credit scenes. Mustang learns that Kimberly... it's a really good after-credit scene, too. because it's a bunch of spy stuff. And
I'm so excited.
Mustang learns that,
I'm so excited.
that Kimberly is recovered by alchemy from Raven. It is in the north. And then, he's getting that message from the lady in his car, and then she leaves, and then there's this flower lady next to him, and he's like, you should get us some flowers. And he's like, nah, I think we're better apart. But then you realize the flower lady's a spy also, has a message from General Armstrong up in the north, and says that, we never learn what the message is. She just says, I have a message from you from General Armstrong. And so he goes, all right, then I'll buy every flower in your cart. And I was like, look, what a gentleman still. He's like, all right, thank you for that info. I will support your entire business. And then we get this weird chain analogy to break free and learn the true identity, which I kind of am loving these voiceovers because they're like a little hint to what next week's episode will be. But at the same time, it does not give me any info, so I don't know what the true identity is. But then the next episode is called The First Homunculus, and it shows a picture of Daddy Elric. And
might be Hohenheim.
It's gonna be Hohenheim, and learn the true identity. We're gonna learn that Hohenheim is a homunculus created by Father, and I'm calling it now. And that's it. You got fun? Right. You got fun facts?
I accept it. No, we're up to chapter 69.
And
that's it.
Nice.
So, have at it, you pervs. Yeah.
Nice.
That's all I got for this one.
Lauren, I want you. Can I have your shirt?
We're watching next week, Bridget.
Can I have your shirt though first? I just saw your shirt.
Yes, actually, it's far too big for me. I love my friends. I love that they see nerdy things and get them for me, but they always buy them in larges and extra larges, and I am comfortable in a small. I am a small person.
Guess what? I wear a large.
Sorry. So a lot of the shirts I have to tuck and roll and fucking move around and do all this stuff.
You didn't even realize you said
it. I love these shirts, but I literally... Did I say a bad word? My bad. It's my frustration of all my cute shirts that I can't wear. So.
You straight up just dropped the F-bomb.
But yes, Oops. Well... I'm working on it, guys. I'm an imperfect person.
We all are. Aren't we all?
I'm getting much better than I was. I even, in my own life, I've been saying, darn it, a lot.
Darn it.
So,
okay. So,
I'm getting there.
This was our banter, so I could pull up Funimation real quick and see what we had coming. So we're watching episodes 37, 38, 39, and 40. So, it is called 37's the first... Yeah, I know. 37 is the first homunculus. 38 is conflict at Baskul. 39 is daydream. Also, these little icons for it, daydream is just a picture of Scar. It's raining and he's still shadow, but his eyes are glowing, and I'm like, ah. And then episode 40 is in parentheses homunculus, and then in parentheses the dwarf in the flask. So I'm
okay.
Yeah, that would. It seems like we're about to just jump into some really thick plot lines. And I'm gonna stop trying to look at all these little thumbnails because I'm super intrigued. So yeah, that's what we're watching next week.
Okay.
That's what we got.
All right. I think that's good. Let's leave it there.
All right.
Be excited. We're excited.
Hohenheim's a homunculus, and that's all I got to say about that. And I'm really afraid...
And they're also the mages that brought alchemy and alchemy to the world.
I half agree with that.
And he's also Father's love. He's Father's love. And that's why he has feelings and emotions. Or he's his humanity.
I agree with that more than love.
That's more plausible.
Or his emotions, he was
whatever.
He's like, the emotions hinder me, I'm gonna get rid of them, and now that's all Father is emotion. Okay, well, we're gonna see you next week.
Alright, feel pain with us.
I'm gonna try and get past chapter 4 of the manga. Maybe this week will be better and I can do that and get to 69. Nice.
It won't, but that's very good of you to think that.
Thanks.
Shut up.
Nice. All
right.
Well,
we're going away now.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everybody.
We love anime and we love you. All right. Goodbye.